Hello everybody and what's up? Welcome back to another edition of Building My Stock Watchlist. Here we are on the night of September 22nd, 2025. Now I'm probably going to keep this fairly brief, this episode. I have to say I'm not in the best of spirits today. It just wasn't the kind of day I was hoping for, if we're going to be honest. And I'm not going to quit because I know the only way that I'm not going to succeed in this game is to quit. But certainly my execution just leaves something to be desired. So I'll talk all about it as we go through the stocks. So without further ado, let's just get started here. So yes, we're going to go through the... I should also say I'm not a professional, clearly. So, the second disclaimer, I am not giving you investment advice. We're just trying to learn together. Emphasis on learn, because clearly I don't know everything or I wouldn't have made such silly mistakes today. Anywho, let's go ahead and let's get started with the review of the top 100 most liquid stocks in the market. Starting with Tesla, this is my only big position, and it did reverse a little bit today, so perhaps it's going to make a move down to that 10. Not going to blow this one out. I was tempted to blow this one out just based on the fact that I made some pretty unsmart moves, so I kind of wanted to just protect my positions in this one, or my profits rather. But I'm still not going to blow it out because I need to ride these trends. That's what I'm trying to do, is hold for a longer term move. So we're going to ride this one way or another. So we'll see how this one does. Then NVDA, this was pretty much the story of the day. NVDA popped off and brought a lot of the AI theme with it. You can see just coming right off of that 50, it was a perfectly good spot to buy. Personally, I didn't buy this one because there are other things I'm looking at in this space, but yeah, if you're in an AI stock, then you certainly want to see NVIDIA make another run, and this was a step in that direction. Maybe we'll have a short little handle out here, but it does look quite good. Apple taking off, so another mega cap on the move. Palantir, just a rest day at the top here. I would expect a small handle here before we end up moving higher on this one. And Google just continuing to trend in the right direction. And Broadcom, this one, it's not really shown a lot of strength after this gap, I have to say. It's going to be interesting to see if it can hold these lows, or if it's going to undercut it and move back up, or if it's just going to need a reset down to the 50 or something. So not really looking at this one right now, but we'll see. And Amazon showing a little bit of weakness compared to some of these other mega caps, just coming down to the 50 though. No big deal. Same with Meta, showing some weakness, still holding above its 50, so no big deal. Perhaps that glasses demonstration has a little something to do with that one there. And AMD showing weakness compared to NVIDIA. Oracle, this one looks like it's ready to perhaps make a turn. I think you would probably need to wait till over this level before you feel really good about getting into this one, but if you want to do an early entry, today was the day. Just unabated strength from beginning to end. This one showing that the gap is not a fluke and it might hold this one. And here we have Robinhood. If I wasn't watching so many other things so closely today, maybe I would have started a small position in this one. But yeah, it looks like it's ready to start, maybe perhaps trending up again. I mean, it's an all-time high, so that's probably obvious. So yeah, this one, just a stock that I definitely like to get into. APP showing a small reversal here, but nothing to be concerned about. It is still very extended from the 10-day. Then CoreWeave showing some follow-on strength here, so continuing to perhaps repair itself. It's still very weak compared to, NBIZ, for example. And I would still like to see the 50 turned up before I get into this one, but definitely showing some signs of a possible turnaround here. MicroStrategy looking relatively weak, probably indicative of the whole Bitcoin theme, but we will see. And then Intel not holding this gap here, maybe some signs that this one doesn't have the institutional power behind it that Oracle does. But we'll see. And BMNR, I can't trade this one. And Netflix, this one just kind of quietly retaking the 50 here, and looks like it might hold this support level. We'll have to see if it can get back over this level here. And Micron continues to run up into earnings. This reminds me of back here when it ran into earnings. I was part of this disaster here. I think I ended up with a small profit, but yeah, definitely reminds me of that one a bit. But that doesn't mean that's going to repeat itself. The AI theme is very strong right now, and Micron's certainly a leader in that space. And Baba, just a leader, foreign stock leader. And Coinbase getting rejected back down off of the 50. It did not break the top of this area here. Got rejected twice. Now it's kind of sent back down to its 10-day moving average. I still don't think that this one is necessarily one that calls for a short yet, but you do want to be watching to see if there's some follow-on weakness here. But it does still look relatively strong compared to the other Bitcoin type names. And then TSM trending nicely. And OCO here, just more strength. You know, I've talked about this one already and how I'm not very happy that I'm not in this one. I mean, that's obvious. I could pull up any good stock and say I'm not happy I'm not in it, but I was literally in it on the breakout day, so that just makes this hurt all the more. And then SoFi just continues to accelerate and trend to the upside, so not sure how much more this is going to sustain, but it's been far more sustainable than I thought. We got all this wicked action over here. I kind of thought the run was over, but it's just continued to be a monster. And you've got Circle here just maybe setting up to potentially make a higher low, but still some work to be done in that one. CrowdStrike just kind of digesting this big move over the 50. We'll see if that one can bounce off some moving averages once the 50 turns upward. And we have Uber with a bit of a failed breakout here, but it's not completely over. And then MBIZ, this one, I said it did look like it wanted to turn around, but I probably wasn't going to try it since it's incredibly extended. At least I believe it's incredibly extended. Let me take a look at this one. Yeah, it's 6 ATRs extended from the EMA, of the 50 EMA, which is probably further up here than the SMA, which I have on the chart. So, yeah, quite extended there. Not one that I would want to fool around with, but, you know, sometimes a momentum stock just keeps going, and this one looks like it might be potentially going to do that. And we have GEV. This one, I put a 25% of my usual 25%, so 6.25% coat position on this one, and I'm up on it. So I guess if we can break this level right here, I'll probably scale in another 25% in double my position. And this one, the energy producers did seem to come alive today, and this seems to be exactly where you want to be accumulating this name. So we'll see if this one can continue up. AMAT, this one, kind of showing itself. I'm forced to talk about this one. Now it is coming right up to this resistance level. I would reckon to guess that it's going to probably fall back down, but the test is going to be whether it falls right apart at that level or if it just kind of orderly pulls back and makes a higher low. And Reddit, this one just continues to be pretty volatile and choppy, but staying over the 10. And Snowflake, this one shaking out a little bit. It does look like it wants to make the turn potentially. I was looking at this one on an hourly chart today, and it actually looks quite good. So maybe I'll try this one if it pops up out of this little consolidation, though I will say I don't really want to be in something that's been relatively weak compared to the rest of the AI market. Though I think AI software hasn't been super strong, Palantir, that one just kind of turned around. So, maybe this group just turning around a little bit later, the applications of the AI coming on a little bit later than the infrastructure, that would actually make a bit of sense. So maybe I will try this one. It had a great earnings reaction, so I don't know. I'll keep my eye on it. And yeah, right up at the top of this base too, so I think this one could actually be quite good. I just don't want to be trying to get into too many different stocks because I think that just gives a lot of opportunity to mess up. And then the quantum theme here, you can see this one, very speculative theme, so it's going to react well to rate cuts, but it's too wild for me. This one seems to be going parabolic. Well, that's probably an exaggeration, but trending very sharply upward. Same with this one. So you would think maybe that these semiconductor type names might be in for a pullback soon with even the laggards in the group starting to move at a very fast rate, but you just had NVDA, come alive again, so maybe they're just going to continue on. And here we have Goldman Sachs trending nicely, Citigroup trending nicely, 2 leaders in the bank space. Here we have A-Lab. I accidentally skipped over A-Lab last night, and I did try this one today. I probably should have waited for it to touch down to the 10 before I tried it. I wanted to do a little bit of a pullback buy, as I said I was going to try to do, so I did only take a half position, but that was probably still too much. Probably should have just tested with maybe a quarter position. But you can see this, oh my lord. Okay, anyway, you can see this one extremely tight down here, so whichever way it pushes is probably whichever way it's going to want to go. I do think this one could hold the 10, but we'll just have to see. This one certainly could use some more digestion. Then you have ANET just kind of still repairing off of that bad break. But it is back above its 10, it is tightening up, so this one could kick back into gear. Yeah, IBM just starting to fill this gap, it looks like. We'll see what happens, if it can completely fill it or not. But yeah, it looks like it's starting to come back alive. Mongo recovering over its 10, so maybe it's going to catch the tracks on this one and start moving. If you really wanted to, maybe you could add a little small position here and then make it full size once it breaks these highs. I just think there's still a lot of overhead supply in the name potentially, but I will say once it gets over this level, I think that's when you can consider it to really be on its way to something good. So I guess I'll take a look at it and watch it. Soundhound, it does break over this high here, it does it on a fair amount of volume. So this one's starting to be accumulated nicely. I would probably want to see a bit of a pullback before I get back in on this one. Then Iran, just, not much to say here besides it's doing very well. In Roblox, this one just continues to move sideways. It looks like it's getting pinched on both sides, one side by this overhead kind of supply here, the other side by this steady trend with the buyers. We'll see which side prevails here. D-Wave, just another quantum name, reacting very well, and we have Rocket Lab doing another spike up. I just don't think this is the time to be getting into this name unless you can see some sort of significant tightening here. I mean, you can try it if you want to, but for me personally, this is just not ideal. Spotify, this one looks like it's forming to maybe break over this level. I don't think you're going to make a huge run in this name, but you could get a little something done, so maybe I'll be watching this for a potential entry. Imara does continue to look a little bit better, makes a higher low here, but still it's a very volatility prone stock. In Carvana, this one just kind of forming up, looking like it wants to break into all-time highs potentially. So we'll see if it can move through this ugly day here. So yeah, looking pretty decent. And here is the thing that ruined my day today. I'm not mad at myself for trying this one, because if you're going to try it somewhere, breaking out of this huge base on a newer growth stock that also has pretty good earnings, or sales at least, this is definitely not a bad spot to try it. It's just that I did not control my risk effectively today. I was tired of getting out of things too early once they started reversing, so I said, okay, I'm going to give this one a little more room. It looks phenomenal to me, but the buyers just did not step in. It was a complete failed breakout. And yeah, I lost like a good 5 or 6% on this one, so like a 1.5 of my portfolio as a whole, which doesn't sound bad, but I'm not a very high percentage trader, so I need to keep my losses very small, and I failed to do that today, unfortunately. So that was just a complete disaster of a trade, unfortunately for me. Now it didn't go back underneath the 10, so it could still technically work, but you know what they say, from failed moves come fast moves. This one does have pretty strong fundamentals. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. This one does have pretty strong fundamentals, as you can see here. And it does have some, I was looking at the options data, and it looked like it would have some pretty strong institutional support behind it. So I still can't call this one dead, but at the same time, that is just not good action right there. And I probably should have waited for it to confirm. I mean, if you were doing a 5-minute opening breakout, you would have gotten suckered into it because it did break out, but maybe just giving this a little more time to confirm, giving things a little more time to confirm in general wouldn't hurt. So, I don't know. This one, I'm too tired to fully digest what happened, but it doesn't make me happy. We'll put it that way. I'm still going to see what happens with it, though. Yeah, this one just way too far gone for me to get involved now. Shopify breaks out into all-time highs. No, it doesn't. Let me see. No, not quite in all-time highs yet, but it does break out of this little cup area, you could call it. Goes into 52-week highs, I would assume. This was probably the place to enter, but just stretching up higher. So we'll see if this one wants to come back to the moving averages, and I might take a shot in it if it does. And then Vistra, very similar to GEV, breaking out on this day, I would say. And yeah, if you wanted to do this one instead of GEV, I would totally understand. It's just GEV is one of my favorites. It's a very liquid institutional type name, so that's why I chose that one to start accumulating, but I'm certainly no slouch over here on Vistra. So that is all 20 or 100 stocks there. And we got up to 29 because I guess I was just adding everything left and right. So let's take off VST since we're already working on GEV. Let's take off IREN since it's too far gone. Let's take off, NBIS is probably too far. Let's take off CoreWeave because that one's not quite ready. And finally, let's take off I just saw it, SoFi, because I'm probably not going to be buying that one at these levels of extension. So that is it for me tonight. Hopefully I can start to turn things around. I feel like I'm seeing the market well enough. It's just the execution has not been there. Trading is a skill, and I haven't been executing that skill well. I do want to start using smaller position size. I used a full position size on Tempest because it was a true breakout into all-time highs that we were trying to accomplish here, but it really did bite me, so If I see a stock I like, then perhaps I should start accumulating it a little bit earlier on. But on the other hand, a 6% loss, a 5% loss, whatever it was, really a 1% loss for my portfolio, it's not the end of the world. If you're going to lose big on a stock, then it's probably not a bad spot to do it. You know, breaking into all-time highs, we've seen young stocks like this do that many times over and become absolute monsters. This one looked like it was setting up quite well, it just didn't quite get there. So I'm not going to completely freak out about it, it just hurts in the moment, that's all I'll say. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.